Welcome to the Eyes on Ocean podcast. The podcast was created for marine mammals observers to share the incredible experience with whales and dolphins. My name is Claudia Erber, your host, and I invite you to embark and tune in to sea lovers' inspiring stories. Welcome to the show, Laura. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad that we managed this time, and I am sure that we will have a very nice chat today. So, to start our nice conversation, I would like you to tell me about yourself.
Yes, thank you, Claudia, for inviting me. Yes, I'm Laura Redaelli. I'm from Italy originally. I've been studying my bachelor in Italy in natural science. Then I moved to the Netherlands to do my master in marine biology, and now I'm currently in Madeira Island in the Atlantic, in the East Atlantic, to do my PhD in marine mammal acoustics.
So that's why we met. We are doing the PhD together. It's very nice to have you in the same class, let's say, even if we spend most of the time meeting online.
Exactly, yes. Unlucky.
Tell me about how did you start your career, or why you decided to become a marine biologist?
So I always had a passion for animals in general. Since I was a kid, I wanted to become a veterinarian to take care of animals. But then growing up, I kind of realized that becoming a veterinarian is more dealing with the owners of the dogs and with diseases and problems, and actually be able to experience the animals or like being in the nature, which was what I actually liked. So at the end of the high school, I just kind of decided a bit randomly to enroll in a natural science, which is a very general course, I would say, which covers biology, covers zoology, covers ethology, but covers also other subjects like geology and paleontology and so on. So it was very general. I really enjoyed ethology and zoology. I also enrolled in a course specifically in marine biology. But it wasn't until I had the opportunity to join a project for my thesis, for my bachelor thesis, that I got really interested in marine biology. So for this project in the thesis, I had the opportunity to go to the Falkland Islands to study, to help, to be like a field helper for a research group that is an Italian research group, but is based in this little island which is called Sea Lion Island in the south of the Falkland Islands. Falkland Islands are in the south of the Atlantic, next to Argentina, to Terra del Fuego, Patagonia. So I was there helping them collecting data, this long monitoring project on southern elephant seals. It was a very tough project. We can talk about this maybe later on. But yeah, it's like suddenly I was immersed in this, pristine environment dealing with these animals, these mammals, which were seals, but we also had a lot of encounters with cetaceans, especially with killer whales. And it was very mesmerizing. It was absolutely amazing. So then when I came back, I kind of had this revelation that I was interested in this world, this field. So I took a year of time after the bachelor to do other projects related and not related to marine biology and marine mammals to see if it was actually what I was interested to do. So I went for example, I went to Montenegro to study dolphins. And then I did other projects more in the mountains to study land mammals. And I realized that I was really interested in pursuing especially marine mammal career. So then I decided to enroll in marine biology in the Netherlands, and things went on until I ended up now doing a PhD in marine mammals ecosystem, which
Wow.
is great.
What a great career patch. I can tell you, we have kind of similarities because I also wanted to be veterinarian when I was a child. And then I realized that I would work with sick animals and blood and kind of thing I'm
Exactly.
not into. Then I just jumped to be a biologist when I was like 12 years old. I wanted to study the monkeys, but I always loved the dolphins, and I spent my vacations in an island in Brazil. And we always, when we need to take the boat to the island, we have these tursups doing the boat riding, and I was so fascinated by them that I decided to be a marine biologist, and my course was also super general. And it's something I really like because I have this idea of nature and environment in a broad aspect. I think it's very important to see the animal, but you understand the importance of the animal inside the environment, the ecology, the holistic approach. And since they are top predators, they are quite important animals in the environment. And then I also took the chance when I was 19 years old, the second year of my bachelor degree. I stopped the university. I went to do internship with humpback whales. And of course,
wow.
after dive with whales singing, I said, oh, that's what I want of my life, the rest of my life. And I think it's very important that all my interviewers here, they talk about their internships during the graduation, because it's where we find out what we like. And of course, we can change our career, but I think in this beginning, when we fall in love for a subject or for an animal, give us a very important motivation to follow up the career, because being biologist is not easy, as you know.
Yes, it's not something that you do for money or for income in general. It's something that you do for passion, and it's challenging, especially marine mammal research is very competitive. So it's something that you have to, go against the wall and receive a lot of, many doors are closed, and you have to keep insisting sometimes, and like to kind of get what you want, like at least to try. It's not
Exactly,
but
and that's
when you
why
manage,
also
it's amazing.
exactly, and that's why always, if you have your in your CV as a young professional, you can show that you did internships, you work as volunteer in many projects. I think many doors open there, because then you really show your passion and your attitude towards to the career. But you said that you wanted maybe later you would say something, but I am curious now, the story that came to your mind, and I didn't want to interrupt, but since you were talking about your lifetime career, but tell me, I'm super curious now.
No, it's more related, when if you will ask, what is the challenge, most challenging experience, but also the most exciting experience, and it's all related to that first hands-on experience that has been the Falkland Islands, because it's been extremely challenging, like extremely hard, psychologically, physically, was draining. But it brought a reward that is like, right now I still remember the pain, the difficulty of that, but it's like it counterbalanced so much what brought,
So
as an experience.
tell us, please.
So yes, so this experience that I was mentioning was I was supposed to be there like as a field helper, and the researcher gave me the opportunity to do also a bachelor thesis. So this researcher is a couple, is an Italian couple, and they have this elephant seal research group, and they are conducting this long-term monitoring project of the population of the southern elephant seal. So in the Falkland Island, there is kind of a resident population, and the majority of it is concentrated in this little island, this Sea Lion Island, which is the southest island. Is basically like a few kilometers long and a couple of kilometers wide. And yes, so they've been there for like 20 years, recording the behavior, recording the present and absence of individuals to try to understand the demography and the change of the population. You know, who comes, who is coming back, who is not coming back, how many pups there are every year, and so on. So what they do is, asking some students. They give the opportunity to work hands-on. They require a lot of effort. So our day where we went there for 4 months. I was there from August until December. We had to like fly. We started all from Italy. We were 5 people, 5 other students. We left from Italy. We had to fly all the way down to Chile, then from Chile to Terra del Fuego, and then Terra del Fuego to the capital of the Falkland Island, which is Stanley. And then from there, we took a super tiny plane, which had like three seats. You know, like this
I love
very tiny, like, and not
planes.
very. They don't inspire a lot of safety. We had to wear like kind of earplugs to be able to go, because it was like so noisy, so old. And we arrive in this island where there is absolutely nothing. There is just one lodge for tourists, where a lot of nature documentary crew goes, like BBC for Blue Planet and so on.
Wow,
And we were
cool.
living in this, it was amazing. And we were living in this very little cabin, like it was a kind of a big roulotte. We had like 6 beds, like 3 bunk beds, like kind of like in a kind of a Tetris, to be able to fit everyone. And we were there. Yeah, we were left there for 4 months. There was no. The food was brought with a ship, and if the weather was bad, there was no food coming. So we had to survive out of kind of what leftovers. So we were making our own bread. We were not spoiled at all, I would say. But
Surviving.
it was tough, coming from the context, at home where you have everything. Like you go to the supermarket and you choose whatever it is, to arriving there and you just have to eat what you have. And if you have too much hunger, then it's your problem, because there is no extra food. Like, the ratios are limited also on that. But yeah, we were in this amazing place, like absolutely pristine. It was a sandy island. There were like penguins all around. In that island, there are up to 4 species of penguins. We had elephant seals on the beaches. There were sea lions. There were sometimes
Wow.
4 seals. We also see a couple of leopard seals. Then there were killer whales. We saw like some whales and dolphins as well in the distance, plus a lot of marine birds like albatross, and so it was amazing. And yeah, like there was no connection, there was nothing. So it was, for me, it was also the first time that I was actually moving out from home, from my parents
How
to
old
live
were
abroad
you?
for. I was 20. I turned 21 when I was
Wow,
there.
super reminds me my experience in Abrolhos with the humpback whales, because also we need to live in
Yeah.
this tiny island. It was connection only by boat with the civilization, and when the wind was too strong, we could not have any contact with nobody, and I write letters. It was
Yeah.
no mobile. We call
Yeah.
to mom and daddy by a radio telephone, like VHS telephone, like once a week, just to say I am surviving.
I'm alive.
And there was no fresh water, only from the rain. So my hair was straight, and after that time, my hair became with
Curly.
caracoles, totally
Really?
so. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, but it's the kind of experience that I think make us
Yeah.
stronger, and it's beautiful because, as you said, so much biodiversity. So you can live together with these animals, and to share their environment in
Yeah.
their way, in their wow. This is
Yeah.
a beautiful experience.
And especially in a place that is so isolated where you don't have many, these animals have not much contact with humans, so they are not afraid, so you can get very close and you see things that that you normally don't see. And especially I was very impressed and kind of, I would say, traumatized as well, because you watch the documentaries and they always show you, there is the hunt. Maybe they show you some parts of the hunt. They show you when the animal is killed, but you don't fully see the whole process. And like being there and actually witnessing it, like you witness also how harsh nature is, and it's we know, but be able to see it, it's very intense. Like I saw things that I was very like not upset, but in a sense like very moved by how nature can be beautiful and amazing, but also how can it be cruel
Rough.
and rough.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So
Yeah.
it's been an amazing experience. We were in charge of like monitoring this elephant seals population. Elephant seals, so they spend basically the whole year at sea, and then they come on land always in the same place, like always in the same island, or even on the same part of the beach. They tend to arrive, and when they breed and when they molt. So we were there during the breeding season, and they form what is called harems. So females gathers on the beach. They form like harems that goes from like few females up to like hundreds. Like I think the biggest harem we had that year was around 120 females. And there is one
Wow.
male. Yeah, there is one male that is called the alpha male, which kind of rule the harem. So when the females arrive, they give birth, and then they spend some time feeding the calf, like the pup. And then there is a short window of time when the females become receptive so that they can be fertilized again. So the alpha male was there ruling all the time, waiting for this moment to arrive. So and then to mate with all the females of the harem. So of course there are more males than harems. So we were like witnessing all these like fights between different males to try to like establish the dominance, who is like becoming the alpha, who goes back to be the beta or like the peripheric male. It was very interesting to see, like especially in the peak of the season. It was funny because you could see like you have this male in the middle that tries to look at one part of the harem, and then you have one male approaching from the side. So like the alpha male goes on one side, and then so the other one on the other side like then started approaching the other female. So it was like there was a lot of movement. It was very funny.
Wow, what amazing experience. And as a witness, you do gambling and say, I think this one will win or this one will win. Or just
Yeah.
look and see.
Yeah. Well, we were assigned to one harem. Like, so I had my harem, which I had to go every day to identify all the animals that were in the harem. When the pups are born on the island, they were put in like cattle tags on the hind flippers of the pups. So and then associated to this number, you have the date of birth, and if you can understand the sex, or the location where he was born. And since they come back always to the same place, then you can build this like very reliable and long-term population history. So we were going there every day to see, okay, which female is here, which male is here, which pup, to see who's coming and who's not. So I had my harem. I was going there every day, and I had my alpha male. Yeah, it was an old male that one of the oldest male of the colony, and it was the last year that was recorded on the island. So probably was died at sea that year. But yeah, so every time that a younger or smaller male was trying to approach the females of his harem, yeah, I was there cheering him up and believing that he was winning, and it was like he never lost his harem. But sometimes, so it's a very, very interesting fact about elephant seals is that they have a very stereotype behavior, like agonistic stereotype behavior, which means that they have some step that they tend to follow, and they usually follow. So, and when they start this agonistic interaction, so male against male, they always start approaching, and they kind of lift themselves up the chest part. So in this way, they start kind of assessing the size of each other. And if the one of the two sees that that he's already clearly smaller than the other one, he kind of just already go away. Then the second step, if the difference is not that clear, then they start a series of vocalization. And through the vocalization, they kind of assess each other. That's the theory. That's our hypothesis. They can kind of understand based on the frequency and other things who is bigger, who is stronger. And if also on this they cannot perceive a big difference, then they start to fight. And the fights can be very, very tense, like a lot of blood. They kind of start stripping, chewing on each other trunks.
Wow, this is
sometimes there is
intense.
yeah. They go with so much power. It's very cool, and it's funny to see because the females, if it was for the females, if they could reproduce by mitosis, they really don't care about males. They hate them. They just are so grumpy all the time, and the males don't care about the females in the moment of fighting. We saw many times the males just kind of in the rush of the fight, they just pass over pups, whatever else is in the middle. They don't care. It's very
want
funny.
to fight. So male word.
Yes.
But the humpback whale is in this breeding area where I did my internship. Also, the males they fight, and we could see sometimes, very seldom, but I saw blood as well, because they used the head against each other. It was a very energetic behavior, and for us was amazing to see, because this is the true wide world. But when you talk about the vocalization, that was the moment that you decide to be a bioacoustician. How you decided to go to this bioacoustic field?
I would say it started a bit in that moment, but I was not involved in acoustic at the moment. I did a bachelor thesis on elephant seals, but was kind of related to acoustic, but more on the anatomy. We were trying to develop a non-invasive methodology to measure using videos and photogrammetry to measure the vocal tract of the males. Because when they would vocalize, you from the side, in this particular species, you can clearly see the larynx that goes up and down. So you can kind of estimate the length of the vocal tract. So then we were comparing this with the size, with the length of the animal, and with the age to see if there was or not a correlation. And then the further step would be compare this with the acoustic recordings. But at least from my side, I never reached a point in the project. Like, it was not my project, but it was something that I start to understand how acoustic, that how much it plays a role listening to these animals. And we are talking about animals like seals. Pinnipeds in general are amphibious animals, so they spend a lot of time at sea, but also a lot of time in land. And then after a while, I started getting involved in acoustic, but on fully aquatic mammals like cetaceans, and this is a whole other world. So I started with acoustic when I was in the master. I think my first master project was against with seals, because I honestly fell in love with seals at the beginning. I'm saying marine mammals, but I love seals a lot, because from seals there is a bit less attention. They are less charismatic creatures compared to whales and dolphins. But they are easier to study because they are also land. So we can go and put a tag on them. We can put a number. We can like clearly see what they are doing. While with whales and dolphins, it's more difficult. And there is less studies anyway. It's because it's just less interesting. Like less people are interested in this. So I started working with seals. I really wanted to keep working on seals. So I started working in the Netherlands in seal rehabilitation centers where they were collecting injured or orphan seal pups of harbor and gray seals. And I was working on an experiment to try to assess the vocal plasticity, vocal learning of seals pups. So we were broadcasting playbacks of another conspecific, so another pup of gray seal, every with a certain repetitivity, like so every day for like 3 or 4 times before, after the feedings, and see if the patterns of if the I would say the parameters of the vocalization of these animals would be influenced, like they would start to imitate the playback that they were exposed. It was a very I would say ambitious project. We had some results, but the conditions were not easy. And then from there, kind of casually, as I was looking for a second project for my master thesis, I really wanted to keep working with seals. I really wanted to work again with northern elephant seals, but I didn't got lucky in that sense. So I got a project on blue whales acoustics. So I went to Wutzel in the US.
Yeah. Now you got lucky. Come on, Laura.
Yeah. Well, I was a bit sad that I could not keep going with my seals, But then with blue whales, it's been a bit of a change.
Blue whales are so good as well.
Yes. Yeah. Then I was like, okay, this is another level. It's very different. So I was working on this underwater acoustic data, and it was a lot of data, it was a lot of work, but then at the end it paid off. Like I learned a lot of things, and I was in contact. I was in Wutzel, which is in the US. It's on the East Coast. It's a very renowned oceanographic institution, and they have a team, like a lab on animal behavior and acoustic. So I was lucky that I was surrounded by people with a lot of knowledge, so they helped me. Like not much on the analysis itself, but like making connection and like getting to know more and more people, getting more and more involved in the field, and learning what you can actually do with your data, or what type of data then you can collect, and it gets more and more interesting. So yeah, then I started working on cetaceans acoustics, so underwater acoustic, and since then.
So you began the cetacean acoustic with blue whale, just like that?
Yes.
What a lucky woman!
But I didn't see blue whales. I didn't see the blue whales. I already had the data, so it was just I was seeing the blue whales on the spectrograms, not in the reality. I
Anyway, it's
actually
a
just
very
recently,
interesting sound.
yeah,
I can imagine. I never see a spectrogram of blue whale as far as I can remember. Just probably online
it's
something, a
it's
small
very.
sample.
I was working on downsweep calls, which are calls that they are believed to be associated with feeding, but now there is some evidence that maybe they are associated also with agonistic interaction or like social interactions, but are calls that seems like a yeah, just like a sweep, like a down sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Very very small, a very very low frequency. So the blue whales is the biggest marine mammals, is the biggest whale, the biggest animal as far as we know that ever existed on in the ocean and on the earth. So the biggest is the animal, the lowest is the frequency. So blue whales emit
Mm-hmm.
these like extremely low frequency sounds, which is like we cannot hear them. Like they are
Mm-hmm.
under our hearing capabilities. So to listen to them, I had to like speed them up many times to be able to hear this like whoop. Yeah,
Whoop,
but
whoop.
it
Yeah,
was very
super
interesting.
cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, it was a very good beginning. Wow,
Yeah.
inspiring because it's important that we understand and we can share that to our audience that sometimes you are in one patch and then you say, I was not so lucky, I could not do what I wanted, and suddenly you are in a very nice work environment, doing a lot of networks, and this is very
Yeah.
important for your curriculum as well, and learning about the blue whale sounds, which is not so well known until
Oh yeah.
nowadays. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting. And what motivates me about acoustic is that is a young science. And since I said that motivates me, I would like to know what motivates you to be a marine biologist, ethologist.
Well, like to be the interest in marine mammals that, as I said, it developed a bit over time, um, comes mostly by understanding how they are like fairly closely related to